The aroma of rosemary chicken filled the air, wafting through the room and mingling with the scent of freshly baked bread and a hint of red wine. The table was set with the finest china, each plate meticulously arranged with a variety of dishes that showcased the culinary skills of the host. The flickering candlelight cast a warm glow, creating an inviting atmosphere that belied the underlying tension. Yet despite the inviting setting, a stark contrast to the icy tension that had settled over the room. Conversations had dwindled to a few forced exchanges, and the clinking of cutlery against plates was the only sound breaking the silence. The guests, once animated and lively, now sat with tense expressions, their eyes darting around the table, avoiding direct contact. Laughter from earlier conversations lingered like a fading echo, a reminder of the jovial atmosphere that had once filled the room. The jokes and stories that had everyone in stitches now seemed like distant memories, overshadowed by the palpable unease that had taken hold. My sister's voice, usually bright and bubbly, was hushed as we cleared the dinner plates. Her usual chatter was replaced by a somber tone, and her eyes, which normally sparkled with mischief, were clouded with concern. We moved in silence, the clinking of plates the only sound between us. "Honestly," she murmured, glancing at my husband engrossed in conversation with her fiancé, her voice barely above a whisper. Her words were loaded with an unspoken question, one that had been lingering in the back of her mind for some time. "Would you date him now?" she asked, her eyes searching mine for an answer. It was a question that seemed innocent enough, but the weight of it hung heavy in the air. I hesitated, a wave of doubt washing over me. The question had caught me off guard, and I found myself grappling with my thoughts. Memories of our early days together flashed through my mind. The excitement and passion that had once defined our relationship now seemed like a distant dream. It was a harmless question, a game sisters played. We had always been close, sharing secrets and dreams, and this was just another one of our playful exchanges. But tonight, it felt different, more serious, as if the answer held more weight than usual. But as I looked at my husband, my gaze lingering on the slight paunch hidden beneath his sweater, I couldn't help but notice the changes that had crept in over the years. The man I had fallen in love with was still there, but time had added its own touches, softening the edges and adding new lines to his face. The thinning hair combed over his forehead, a testament to the years we had spent together. Each strand told a story, a memory of the life we had built, the challenges we had faced, and the love that had grown deeper with each passing day. I whispered back, "Probably not." The words slipped out before I could stop them, and I immediately regretted it. It wasn't that I didn't love him, but the question had forced me to confront the reality of our relationship, the changes that had come with time. The words hung in the air, heavy with unintended truth. They seemed to echo around the room, amplifying the tension that had already settled over the dinner party. I could feel my sister's eyes on me, her expression a mix of surprise and understanding. Unbeknownst to me, they had also reached another set of ears. My husband, who had been deep in conversation, had heard my whispered confession. His face, once animated, now looked shocked and hurt, the impact of my words evident in his eyes. The dinner party, which had started with such promise, now felt like a fragile facade, ready to crumble at any moment. The clatter of dropped silverware sliced through the room. My husband, face ashen, stood frozen by the doorway. My blood ran cold. The playful tone of our conversation, the easy banter of a sisterly exchange, vanished in the face of his stricken expression. Time seemed to grind to a halt. My sister, her eyes wide with alarm, stammered an apology, but the damage was done. The words so carelessly uttered had pierced the fragile fabric of our reality. The drive home was a study in silence. The air crackled with unspoken accusations and hurt. My husband, usually a man of animated conversation and easy laughter, sat with his jaw clenched tight, staring straight ahead. When we reached our home, the place where we had built a life together, he didn't turn to me. He didn't offer a hand to help me out of the car. He simply grabbed a small overnight bag and, without a word, walked out. The silence of the empty house pressed down on me, suffocating me with guilt and regret. My husband's pain was a living, breathing entity in the stillness. How could I have been so careless, so thoughtless? My words, meant to be a harmless joke, had cut him to the core. In that moment, I realized the depth of his vulnerability, the silent fears that haunted even the strongest of men. The days that followed were a blur of phone calls that went unanswered, messages filled with apologies that remained unread. I was haunted by images of our past, of the love we shared, the life we had built. We had grown together, changed together, weathered life's storms together. But somewhere along the way, familiarity had bred a dangerous complacency. I had allowed myself to see only the flaws, the imperfections, forgetting the man who still held my heart. Loneliness became my constant companion. The empty side of the bed felt like a chasm, a constant reminder of his absence. The silence of our home, once a source of comfort, now echoed with the ghosts of words left unsaid. I yearned for the familiar rhythm of our lives, for the sound of his laughter, the warmth of his embrace. In his absence, I was forced to confront the stark reality of my words and the depth of the pain I had caused. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself lost in a whirlwind of emotions. Each passing day seemed to blur into the next, and the weight of my actions began to settle heavily on my shoulders. I began to understand the true weight of my transgression. It wasn't just a fleeting mistake, it was a profound realization that I had hurt someone deeply. The guilt gnawed at me, and I couldn't escape the constant reminders of my actions. It wasn't just that I wouldn't date him now, but the implication that he had somehow become unworthy of my love. This thought haunted me, as I knew it wasn't true. He was a good man, deserving of love and respect, yet I had made him feel otherwise. The realization hit me hard. It was the implication that he had somehow become unworthy of my love, that he had failed to live up to some idealized version of the man I thought he should be. This was unfair to him, and it was unfair to the love we once shared. In my quest for novelty, for something new and exciting, I had lost sight of what truly mattered. I had created an idealized version of love, one that was unattainable and unrealistic. This fantasy had clouded my judgment and led me to make decisions that I now deeply regretted. In my quest for novelty, for the excitement of the what-if, I had failed to appreciate the preciousness of the love we shared. I had been so focused on what could be that I had neglected what was right in front of me. For the excitement of the what-if, I had allowed my mind to wander into a realm of possibilities, ignoring the reality of the love that was already mine. This constant daydreaming had created a rift between us, one that I was now struggling to mend. I had failed to appreciate the preciousness of the love we shared. The memories of our time together, the moments of joy and laughter, all seemed distant now. I realized that I had taken these moments for granted, not fully understanding their value until it was too late. I had taken him for granted, allowing the spark of our connection to dim beneath the weight of unspoken expectations and unmet desires. The silence between us grew louder, and the distance more palpable. I knew I had to make amends, but I wasn't sure where to start. Allowing the spark of our connection to dim beneath the weight of unspoken expectations and unmet desires was my greatest mistake. Now, as I sit alone, reflecting on what once was, I am filled with a deep sense of regret. I can only hope that it's not too late to rekindle the love we once shared. I didn't know if I could repair the damage I had caused. Could love survive such a brutal blow to the ego? Such a fundamental betrayal of trust? The fear of losing him, a fear I had never allowed myself to acknowledge, now consumed me. I was forced to confront the possibility that my careless words had shattered the foundation of our marriage, that the bridge between us had become impassable. One day I received a postcard. It was unexpected, a small piece of paper that seemed to carry the weight of the world. The moment I saw it, my heart skipped a beat. Who could it be from? What message did it hold? My fingers trembled as I pulled it from the mailbox, a mix of curiosity and apprehension swirling within me. It was a picture of a beach we had visited years ago, a place filled with happy memories. The sun setting over the horizon, casting a golden glow on the sand, brought back a flood of emotions. I remembered the laughter, the joy, and the sense of peace we felt during those days. It was a time when everything seemed perfect and our love felt unbreakable. On the back, in his familiar handwriting, were 3 simple words: "Come home, please." Those words, though few, carried a profound message. They spoke of longing, of regret, and of a desire to mend what was broken. I could almost hear his voice, soft and pleading, echoing in my mind. It was an invitation, a plea for reconciliation, and it tugged at my heartstrings. Hope, fragile yet tenacious, flickered within me. It was like a tiny spark in the darkness, a glimmer of light that refused to be extinguished. Despite the pain and the hurt, there was a part of me that wanted to believe in the possibility of healing. Could we really find our way back to each other? Could we rebuild what had been shattered? It was a small step, a tentative olive branch extended across the chasm of our hurt. The postcard was a gesture, a sign that he was willing to try, to make amends. It was a reminder that even in the midst of our struggles, there was still a connection, a bond that had not been completely severed. It was a chance, a fragile opportunity to start anew. The journey back to each other would be long and arduous, but for the first time in weeks, I dared to believe that maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to love. It wouldn't be easy. There would be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But with hope as our guide, and a willingness to forgive and to heal, perhaps we could rediscover the love that once brought us so much joy. And so, with the postcard in hand and a renewed sense of determination, I took the first step towards reconciliation, ready to face whatever lay ahead.